Welcome, everybody, to the Saturday afternoon edition of the Jim Masters Show Live. Yes, we're on at a special time. Our regular time is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, but we're doing a very special episode today. We've got a very special guest. Celebrated author Michael Shevack is here, also a rabbi, noted rabbi as well, and renowned. An individual with a great outlook on life. I've been really doing a lot of research on him and his extraordinary background. And this is going to be a fascinating and inspiring and eye-opening episode of our broadcast. You're going to be empowered. You're going to be motivated. And I know you guys are lovedies from all around the world. Love when that happens. So we have a very special guest and a special episode. He's coming to us live and direct from his home in beautiful Pennsylvania, USA. How is everybody today? It's always a good day when you guys are with us. Last night, we reached our 400th episode of the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment lifestyle talk show series. And as you know, we patterned this series after the old school talk shows like Dick Cavett and Dick Clark and Johnny Carson and Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin, with a modern twist and a modern vibe of today. And that's exactly what we do. We're sort of bringing back the lost art of conversation, and we're doing it with warmth and levity and some amazing guests from all walks of life, as well as inspiring conversations and a whole host of our viewers, our lovedies who interact. Our lovedies are our viewers, because I said that word accidentally, although everybody says it's not an accident. In the summertime, when I was saying our show has a lot of light, love, and levity, and out came the word levity. And from there, the rest is history. Speaking of which, we have this wonderful mug sent in from one of our lovely viewers, Karen Campbell Green, located in Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, Canada. And it's so perfect for our show, isn't it? Kind, generous, supportive you. She sent this to me, but I toast all of you and you and you and you, and I welcome you. I want to get a sip of this coffee now because I always end up making coffee, as you guys know, in tea, putting it down. And by the time I get to it, because of the busyness of the day, it's ice cold and it becomes, with a couple of cubes in it, iced coffee. Welcome, everybody. While you're at it, we would absolutely love if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, and share the lovity. That's really important. We would love that. And be sure and click the notification bell so that way there you don't miss any of our live daily episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live, which again, we have reached that pinnacle of over 400 episodes, 7 days a week, which is amazing. Hello to all the lovedies everywhere. Crystal is watching in Connecticut. She says, hi, Jim and everyone. Happy Saturday. I hope everyone is having a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to an exciting show with inspiring conversation and lovity. Yes, we've got lots of lovity in store for you guys. Hello, Jim and lovedies. That is, of course, from Merlin, who is watching in Ontario, Canada, as she always does. Nice to see you, Merlin. Welcome to the show on a Saturday afternoon. Kathy's in Cleveland. Kathy Short, good afternoon, Jim and lovedies. I hope you're all enjoying this beautiful sunny Saturday. I'm here in the Northeast in the New York tri-state area. I am between New York and Boston on the southern New England coast here. The ocean's a couple blocks away. Beautiful spot to be. And it's absolutely breathtaking and a beautiful day here on the East Coast and the Northeast as well. You are having a beautiful day there in Cleveland, Kathy, and that's great. And I hope you're having a beautiful day there in Juanita, although it's night where you are in South Africa. Hello, Jim and Lovely Squad. May you have a wonderful May. Yes, it is the first day of May, and that's a good thing. Welcome, Michael, to Lovely Hall from Merlin. And yes, this is fantastic, folks. I love all of this. We've got thumbs up from Juanita. We've got smiles and hearts coming in from Kathy Short. And it is sunny but cool there in Ontario. And Kathy Walker is reporting live from New York City. Hey, Jim, you're looking wonderful as always. Thank you. I appreciate that. Can I print this one out and keep this one? Thanks, Kathleen. And I hope you're doing well in the big city. And Juanita says, lovity was destiny. Looking forward to an inspiring show. Thank you very much. It is night for you. That's right. Christine Clifton, good afternoon, Jim and lovely friends. Welcome, author Michael Shevack, to the show. Today, it's a beautiful Carolina blue sky day here in Pinehurst, North Carolina, USA. That's beautiful. Everybody's got the sunshine, which is really nice. Perfect. 2021 has a lot of positive vibes attached to it. Hello, Jim, and my lovely family. Love and hugs to all on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, coming in from Ann Wozniak in the Jacksonville, Florida area. Nice to see everybody. How's everybody doing? Did you see the show that we did yesterday? We did a pop-up show. If you missed it, it's available on our YouTube channel. Matter of fact, all 400 episodes of our Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series are available for you on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We had a guest last night who was hilarious, Jack Mulcahy, the wonderful, brilliant actor, live from New York City. But in the afternoon, we did a very special show called Living in Gratitude. And we talked about the importance of living in gratitude and with gratitude. If you missed that episode, a lot of people are viewing it, and we appreciate that. It's on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. And I love doing shows like that. And I know you guys really appreciate them. And hello, my friends. This is Willie, who's watching in Holland in the Netherlands. She says, I'm late because I was packing. Hey, we are here. We kept the porch light on for you, Willie, and we welcome you to the Jim Masters Show live. It's always a pleasure to have you here. So we have a very special guest. I love this picture. That's such a casual, content. He's got a content expression on his face. Life is good, positivity. I just really like this picture. I like the expression. The photographer really captured something there with our very special guest, celebrated author and co-author of 6 books, author as well as rabbi. Michael Shevack has taught spirituality and comparative religion in the School of Social Welfare, State University of New York, Stony Brook, yes, out on Long Island, as well as business spirituality at the Iacocca Center for Global Entrepreneurship at Lehigh University. His column in business spirituality appeared in Success Magazine, an ordained rabbi who has worked with the world's religions for over 2 decades. He's currently the social responsibility advisor for the Patton Alliance, created by Helen Ayer Patton, granddaughter of General George S. Patton. He began his career as an award-winning madman. That's right. He is known for writing Gillette, The Best a Man Can Get, a campaign still running in 120 countries, the best a man can get. His work on Apple computers won him an award at the Cannes Film Festival. That's right. He's married with 3 children and lives in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. He is the author of 2 particular books that we're going to be talking about today. One is The 6 Fix, Spiritual Health Care for a Stronger America. And that couldn't come soon enough. And Soul Lesson from the Wizard of Oz, How to Follow Your Yellow Brick Road. Again, these books are so timely and so perfect for the conversations that we've been having here on the show. Let's welcome live and direct from beautiful Bucks County, Pennsylvania, our very special guest, Michael Shevack, on a Saturday afternoon. Michael, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
How are you? Thank you for having me. I love levity.
Terrific.
I love levity. It's my new thing.
Oh, that is fantastic. It was just something that happened. I just happened to say it, and everybody has just really taken to it. And I think the world could really use a little bit more of it, couldn't it?
Jim, I have to thank you because, the art of conversation is not practiced anymore. You get the art of accusation.
Yes. Yes.
and so, conversation, it's converse. It's supposed to move in 2 directions, not just one.
Right.
So, I think you're doing a service to all humanity here. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that, sir. Conversation is what it's all about. And I tend to be somebody who isn't extreme. I tend to be a unifier. I see extremes here. I see extremes there. And I'm always looking for ways to bring those extremes together. They might not get every single thing that they want out of it, but at least they'll be able to get some things collectively from the situation, the scenario, whatever it is, that may please everybody and get everybody to be working together and collaborative and creative. And I think that's very important because we are so divisive. It's me versus you, I versus them, in every area, not just first thing people would always think of as politics, but in just general, we seem to be much more that way and much more on the offense. And it's I struggle with it because it's not me. It's not my personality. I always constantly, when I see horrific things, when I hear things that are happening, I'm constantly asking why, and then saying, well, I just don't understand how that individual did or said or, presented that or acted that way or acted out that way. And we are living in a time where it's all apologies and retractions. People will go on social media like a Twitter and they'll post all kinds of things anonymously. And then somebody might catch who it is, and then they have to apologize or retract and say, well, I actually didn't really mean that. And then I will say to myself, is there no filter? Is there no like off button where you just think before you actually do it or say it? Seems like the off button, the filter, has been eliminated in society.
Right. And that's exactly what we're dealing with. And I have to tell you, it's because of a lot of bad religion in the past. I have to be honest with it. I know it's it's my job, but I have to be, the industry needs a little help.
I love a straight shooter, and you're a straight shooter.
And the industry needs a little help. You're dealing with a problem where we've inherited the problem. Extremely austere moral, legal codes were defined what is proper behavior, and everyone was beaten up with them and programmed by them. And then you had this incredible invention called democracy, where all of a sudden it wasn't rules and regulations handed out by religions or by absolute monarchs, but now the individual had rights directly from the creator. It wasn't a matter of religion. It wasn't a matter of governments. It's we as an individual have a direct right with the creator. So all we're doing, Jim, is we're experiencing the dark side of our own rebellion. In other words, before it was group power, group control, group morality, group religion, group legal. Now we're going to the extreme end of the psychological reaction formation, as Freud would call it. We're experiencing the fascism that when you take democracy to its extreme, you get the same problem that we rebelled against when we left England. And inside both the group control and the individual expression of democracy, they are both incomplete. Then one's not false, the other's not false. They're both incomplete. We have to integrate the group and the individuality. It has never been done in the history of the world. Don't feel bad if you're perplexed by it. We are learning it for the first time. Democracy is a very young experiment. We don't know how to do it because it's never been done.
Right.
So cut yourself some levity slack. You know what I mean? Don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah. No one knows how to do it. The world has never had this opportunity before. So we're teeter-tottering back and forth between extreme individuality to the point where it's hoi polloi, like Plato would talk about, or we're going back to kind of very ordered, strict lines of biblicism and binary thinking, and both are incomplete. Okay, they're both incomplete because the human being makes it up in their crazy little mind. It's not how this world is designed. We have order and we have individuality. We have both.
And in America, both are expressed probably even more than most other countries as well. So how do we ever find, or should we ever find, a middle ground for the greater good of the flow of the rivers and that type of thing?
Oh, well, if you're going to look for some kind of purple in between the red and the blue, it's not going to work. Okay. The problem here is we have to align ourselves to the way life works. We're not doing this in a vacuum. Everyone thinks it's an opinionocracy right now, and every opinion is the truth. It's not. No one jumps up unless they come down, unless they neutralize that with, like little wings on your ankles, or that you're floating around in orbit. There are rules of how life works. They are built-ins. It's how life works. You put your hand in a fire, you're going to burn. We can't align ourselves together as people and align the authority from groups or the self-expression of individuality in our own minds.
Mm.
There is an order here. Whether you understand it fully or not, it's not invented by anyone, right? If you believe in God or don't believe in God, it makes no difference. The order is still here, and you have to operate within it. You have to sow and reap and create within it. Okay. And everything, if you take it to its extreme, such as the absolute monarchy, which, merged state and church, back before America, or you take individuality and self-expression under God to its extreme, that excessiveness will produce an evil.
Mm.
And it's excess. That is the problem. It's not one opinion or the other. Every opinion has worth. Every opinion has meaning and truth to it. I mean, every opinion, including the difficult opinions that we're arguing about. There is all truth and there are things to learn, but how to take it, shape it, own it, combine them, it's not just our heads. There's a reality here, and you have to pay attention to how the world functions. That's the purpose behind that first book, which is The Six Fix, is to give a very simple guideline on how to align yourself to the way life works.
What was the inspiration for writing that particular book? I'm sure, there's always sources of inspiration, and the timing of it is so ideal.
Pain.
I saw something where you had said that, and I get what you're talking about. I get it.
Pain. I was in enormous pain because I didn't know how to help, and I didn't know how to leave the world in a better place for my own kids. I didn't know how to teach people, whether they're, I have students from every religion. I have clergy who come to me from almost every religion. I didn't know how to teach people. I didn't know how to reshape America on a foundation that made sense. I didn't know how to soundbite the very huge philosophical problems that are underneath our current, lack of levity in the U.S.
Yeah, so true.
And I just was in so much pain, and frankly, I prayed, because that's what I do, and I asked for a download, and then the book just kind of happened as a way of teaching myself how to teach.
Did you feel as though you knew how to teach, but then things happened, which the world changed in so many different ways that you had to reinvent the way of teaching or the way of connecting with people?
No, it wasn't because of the world, meaning sudden changes in the current events. The world had changed. I mean, you learn all of the Jewish teachings, or you learn Christian teachings, or you learn, New Age teachings, and these are all teachings. Many of them are ancient. The question is, how do you frame it and how do you put it together so that you can actually have a good life? The beautiful thing about America is the promise of a good life, and that individuality, which has really been the American forte, has been a promise for each individual crafting life and just being able to sow and reap their own beautiful personal view of life. So the question was how to teach ethics, how to teach traditional civics, how does government interact with creativity and individuality, so that we have the best of all of these different views together. And I think it was the haunting of my old career as a madman. Do you know what I mean? Let's put it this way. I know a bad campaign when I see one.
Yeah.
And most of what I see on the air, okay, and I don't care what color they're painted, they're bad campaigns. We'll go from one campaign
Yeah.
where we're lowering taxes to the next campaign where we're raising taxes. We go to one campaign where it's binary gender. We go to the other campaign where it's a multiplicity of gender, and we're going back and forth, back and forth. The Congress doesn't function, and then everything is by executive order. So you have regime change, which is the one thing the founding fathers said, don't do. No regime changes, continuity here. You're dealing with people who are stark raving mad. I don't think
Yes.
and if they have money and they have education, meaning a diploma, you think that they're sane, but what you're really dealing with are varying degrees of insanity, and some are more ambulatory than others.
Yeah.
But it's the divisiveness that you referenced, Jim. It's not politics. It's mental illness in various forms. And we're shredded on the inside between different parts of ourselves. Okay. Which is what the Wizard of Oz book is aimed at. We'll get to that. But we have to find a way to unify these pieces and these thought patterns in us, because it's not all or nothing. It's not this or that. All right. It's both and either, neither, and beyond either. God creates this world, at least from my humble theistic point of view. And there's an order here, okay? Whether it exists on its own or whether there's a helper along, there's an order here. And we can't create an economy or help people or manage all these complex issues in our own mind. There's an order here. Let's cooperate.
Now, some people say that what has been going on in the last, not just this last 12 months with everything, but in the last few years, there's a new order or new world order. There's just this shift, this change that's happening, whether we want to participate in it or not. Can you explain what that is, what they're actually saying, and how that works, and if you really follow any of that?
It's an extremely important piece of the puzzle. Everything is, but in its excess, it is lethal. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to give you the skinny. Okay. I don't know if everyone out there is as old as me, but in the 1950s, it was all kind of, very nice rules and regulations, and everyone, won in World War II and they come back. And the 50s built up a tremendous economy, and we had a tremendous war machine. We actually inherited the entire European hegemony. We became the nation that was leading all of Christians and Western civilization. Then the 60s came. You went from black and white to color and hippie. Then the hippies went to the extreme. Okay. And then you started to get the neo-biblical resurgence of Bible people, because the hippies tore off all the rules and regulations. They brought back the colors. They brought back the psychedelics. They brought back American transcendentalism, which is a different kind of religious philosophy. Then you had a rebellion to bring back biblical lines. And you've been going back and forth, teeter-tottering between 1950s values and 1960s values. And we're still debating this for 60 years because we don't know how to bring the core values of America in the 1950s together with all of the changes, which include ecological and gender and race changes that were brought in abruptly by the 60s. That's what's going on. The new order, just to your, excuse me, the new order is a rebellion against the fear, because the 60s and the subsequent changes brought in what classically, from a religious point of view, you call pagan. It's a terrible word. But all the things that have to do with women, nature, ecology, indigenous peoples, sexual variant peoples, these were all pagan issues. So you have a new kind of world order, which is attempting to put back the structure that kept the economy going, that Roman economy going, Caesar's coin, as Jesus was talking about. And that's what it is. And it's a good thing. We should never lose the economy. It should always be functioning, a good, strong machine, because we rely on it as a tool. But It's not our salvation. And we can't forget the other side of it, which is levity.
Mm.
Truly levity. You have to love people, and we can't forget humanity while we're building up our machines to provide for us economically. Right?
Is this a uniquely American experience, or would you
No.
say it's global?
Global. It is the continuity of Western civilization, which was built up from Romanism. Christianity was really an amalgam of Jewish sacred history, Greek philosophy, and Roman law, not Jewish law. We got the short end of the stick, if you know the history. It was Roman law. And Roman law, for instance, allowed you to own anything you wanted. You know, if you wanted it, you got it. Okay. And capitalism, it became very much an offshoot of Roman law, which then became part of Christian Roman law. And we are dealing with the Romanism, from my humble Jewish view, of being kicked out of Palestine in 72,
Yeah.
BC, AD,
Yeah.
70 AD. We're dealing with the excesses of what Roman law permitted. It's Western civilization's dark side. And it's all around the world we're dealing with it. It's a worldwide excess from the previous movement, but people are afraid to correct it because they don't want to lose their steam. They like the force and they like the power.
Are we pulling further apart from one another as each day goes on, or is there an undercurrent of people who want to bring it more unified?
God bless you for that question. All right. I am so thoroughly optimistic, Jim, because I believe behind the veil of all the turmoil, behind all of this accusation and opinionocracy, there is an invisible, powerful, organic, sustained force of goodness and truth and kindness, which is there. Okay. And is the bigger force of them all. It took, how many years did it take to have talk about being kind to the planet and dealing with more organic approaches? And now you can walk into a store and find Clorox green.
Yeah.
It takes time to filter these ideas down and make them mainstream, and also get people to make money from it, because now it's happening, and we're seeing a lot of changes because it's becoming profitable. But don't ever succumb to negativity, because the biggest wave, the biggest force can't be seen, but it's coming. Okay. And we're just seeing a little bit of a rebellion because people are frightened about, economic changes in the economy. And capitalism is making a change. It's after hundreds of years, capitalism's now making a shift to a transcontinental capitalism, where you can reach each individual because of the internet. It's never been seen before. So everyone's frightened because there's so many changes. But be optimistic.
People do tend to sometimes act out and respond, and underneath that usually is because of fear of the unknown, fear
Right.
of what's next. Even like a bully, usually, if you dig deeper with a bully is usually somebody who generally has been bullied themselves, and they're just doing what they have been conditioned to do. You know what I said, and I've said it on this show, and I've said it in my professional work and just in social conversations, mask and social distanced. I said that I think, and again, this is just my, thoughts, that what happened last year in, late winter, early spring, if not sooner, was the meeting of three major energies that really run the show. We think we run the show, but we don't. And the energies that came together late in 2019, early 2020, said, you know what, let's take a look at these humans. What are they doing? What are they doing to each other? What are they doing to the planet? How are they treating each other? Look at all the shootings going on, and the violence, and the yelling and screaming, and fighting in stores just to get a toaster because it's $2 off on Black Friday. Just the way people are acting towards each other, and that's mine. Gimme, gimme, gimme. enough. So those three energies I was saying are the divine, Mother Nature, and the energy of the earth came together and said, look, we gave humans life, the riches of this planet. We gave them every opportunity to make the best of life and existence. And right now, they're going in an unusual direction that is hurting not only the planet, but it's also hurting one another. So, what we're going to do is we're going to throw out in 2020, at the start of a new decade. We're going to do it in 2020 because a new decade is something that generally would be hopeful. And 2020 sounds so galactic. It sounds so,
Good eyes.
incredible. Yeah, it sounds wonderful. 2020. But they came together, the divine, the planet, and Mother Nature, and they said, we're going to stop. We got to stop this. It's not going to affect the animals. It's not going to affect the sun, the ocean, or anything else. That's been here, and that's going to be here well after. The tide of the ocean is going to come in and out 1,000 years from now as it did 1,000 years before. It's not going to affect any of that. It's going to be something where we're going to have humans really reassess life and how they should be, and maybe some things that we should tweak about how we treat each other and more empathy, things of that nature. So they said we're going to throw a few things at them. First, we're going to start with health. So we're going to do a pandemic. And we're not going to do a regional situation. We're going to make it global. And we're going to make it something where they're going to have to really pull together and find their way out of this, rise from the ashes. Then if some people don't feel affected by that, because then maybe they're insulated in a cocoon, we're going to then touch the wallet. We're going to throw in the economic part. So it'll reach anybody who doesn't feel affected by the pandemic. We're going to touch the money. And then we're going to also throw in civil unrest, and we're going to throw in political craziness. And we're going to do it all at the same time in the same year. So it's going to touch every faction of society, and we're going to make it global. And America will be, the leader in COVID, but also the place where the vaccines are discovered, as ironic as that is. It's going to be a year and plus of teachable moments. And are we going to rise from this more empathetic, more loving, more compassionate? Are we going to try to truly help thy fellow man? Or are we just going to become insulated and me, and mine? And I think there's been a lot of expression of both. I think I've seen people, I've still seen road rage during all of this. I've seen people pushing and shoving in stores. I mean, there was a toilet paper shortage and people were hoarding it. And it was like, okay. So you saw the worst of the worst, but you've also seen the best of the best. People dropping off food for seniors, people rolling up their sleeves and helping getting the vaccines out, and just all these different things. And it's this dichotomy of polar opposites that you see happening all at once, with that hope that there will be some sort of a glue that brings it sort of together to say, look, for the good of the planet, for the good of us, we have to find a way to listen, not keep talking, but listen, feel, and empathize. We might not always agree on every single thing. We probably never will. But if at least we invite each other to the table and we toast with wine and break bread, we're on our way to some sort of solace and peace that doesn't seem to be, very fluid right now. So I think divine, Mother Nature, and Earth came together, major energies that really run the show. And they said, we're going to stop things. It's gotten way out of control. And let's see what humanity does from there. That's just my thought.
No, I agree 100%. I just want to put a little bit of a caveat. Okay. Because the way you express it can sound to many people who have come from traditional religions more like it's a fringe kind of new agey thing.
Mm.
And I want to tell you that what you're describing is core Bible. And if you don't know your Bible, you might not notice it. But if you know your Bible and you don't think it's core Bible, then you don't know your Bible. It's a one-trick pony, at least the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament. Whenever the human mind gets out of control and becomes a lord and says that it is the in charge of nature. It's in charge of the trees. It's in charge of everything. It builds its Tower of Babels. It creates unbelievably wanton behavior. Nature and creation rebels. You get floods from Noah. You get ejected from the Garden of Eden. You get towers that cause a complete social, cultural breakdown, and everyone starts to speak different languages. It's the story of Pharaoh. Whenever Pharaoh thinks he's in charge of all the granaries, the force of nature, what you're calling Mother Nature, comes in and shows him who's the boss. This is core biblical conservative religion. And if people are not paying attention to what the Bible actually is teaching, which is the human beings have what's called dominion, or rada in Hebrew, dominion, meaning stewardship. We're entitled to use what's here. It's a tremendous blessing, but we don't own it in a way that we can exterminate whole species, eradicate, trees, destroy it. We don't have domination. That's Roman. We have dominion. That's Judeo-Christian Muslim. All right. And good-hearted people of all kinds of people who are beginning to wake up to these values. So you're not talking fringe. You're talking conservative religion, true conservative religion. And I want to make that clear to people out there. This is not a fringe movement. The learnings from spiritual movements from the 1960s are beginning to merge with clear-minded theology, conservative theology from every religion. There is a movement here that is bigger than anyone imagines. It just hasn't shaped up yet, and it is. Every single day it's getting stronger. Okay? I'm very optimistic.
I mentioned you're a celebrated author, also a beloved rabbi as well, which I think is beautiful because you have a certain perspective and outlook through your studies, through your education, but also through the experiences of being with a congregation and hearing people come up to somebody like you over the years and emote and share, and they tell you their deepest, darkest secrets. They tell you their fears, their worries, their loves, their triumphs, their tragedies. And I think it gives you this interesting perspective to be able to look at all of these things that are happening in society and the societal changes and the things that we're struggling with or the things that we're savoring and relishing over. I think it is and that's why these books that you've written have an extra added sauce to them, I think, is because you have this, you're a feeler. You're definitely somebody who feels deeply and has no trouble expressing that in a way that hopefully reaches people on deep, impactful levels that will then get them to realize that the answers to so many of our questions are right here. And we always look outside for all of the, answers and the happiness. But if we take time to not self-limit all the time and shoot ourselves down, that we have great resilience and strength and love within if we allow ourselves to express it. You have been surrounded by that a good deal of your life, and I think it gives you such a unique perspective on life.
I'm very blessed. I'm also blessed because I've seen the damage that bad religion has done. I've seen what religion has done to kids and the guilt and the confusion that it comes from. The most important thing is to get us on a true life-centered foundation, not just, economics in our mind. The most important thing, Jim, you nailed it, in the 6 Fix, if you don't mind a little bit of a return to the book, there's a value priority system. What are the correct value priorities? Okay, that you define, that you begin with life. And after we have life, The most important thing is health.
Yes.
Leave healthcare out. If everyone were healthy, healthcare would be so cheap, it'd be ridiculous because we wouldn't be needing a system to handle people who degrade their bodies.
That's right.
Okay? Health. And the thing about COVID was a spiritual lesson. It corrected human excess. The word economy comes from the Greek word for household. Household. Same root word as ecumenism, household. COVID taught it's not interest rates, it's not government interference or lack of interference or bond prices or the stock market that makes a strong economy. You have a strong economy when you treat people like they belong to the same household. You healthy workers are the most important contribution to the economic success in this world. And COVID, if we pay attention to the lesson, has corrected this entire new world order nonsense that is going on. Okay? You can have a machine economy. It's a good thing. But let's not forget healthy people are the foundation. That's value priority number one when we reorganize life according to the way this world is designed, to the order. Another way to say order is God's commandments in creation, how this world is designed. Health, you know? And, you know, again, Jim, you're nailing all the bullet points. I mean, I don't have anything to say. It's like value priority number two is peace. Is peace. Okay? Because you have to have health for peace, but if you don't have peace, you're not going to have health. These are life-centered priorities that are necessary to rebuild everything. And you know, God works in very strange ways, if you don't mind me pushing the G word. Isn't it peculiar that the word COVID could be interpreted as coming from the Latin covite or vitae, which means live together? It's almost the strangest.
Because that's what we've had to do. Yeah.
You know, the hair on your head is numbered. How strange that the name, the colloquial name that this virus took on means live together. Do we need a clearer sign? And frankly, how that happens, either you believe in God or you'd better have a dumber idea. But how strange is that? No, the lesson is here. We overstepped our bounds in our power, and we have to come back down to earth. It's not in our minds. We have to come down to earth. If you don't mind, let me bring it home. A couple of years back, we had a financial crash in the US. I don't know if you remember that. Well, why did that happen? You know, it happened because people had an idiotic idea of taking defaulted loans for mortgages, repackaging it as an investment and selling it. Defaulted loans. People were investing in defaulted loans. It was a ridiculous idea. It had very little goodness in it, very little positive life force in it. And as soon as that was extinguished, the entire economy that was based on it crashed. So we didn't have an economic problem, Jim. We had the result of an economic problem, which is thinking that wasn't based on true, healthy, life-centered values. And that's what the economy crashed. Whenever anything happens in this life on the scale of an individual or on a society where it doesn't produce good or God, because God is just a shortening of the word good, that's all it is. Whenever something goes bad, there is a lesson to be learned and a boundary that was crossed, and we don't make the boundaries. It's designed into the game. This is the matrix, and you have to learn how the matrix works. It has rules. Like overrule the planet to an extreme, the planet will say, I'm sorry, you're overstepping your bounds. I'm going to shorten the lifespan of a few human beings to rebalance. Overheat the planet knows exactly what it's going to do. It's going to melt its icebergs to cool itself down. Okay? It's perfectly balanced. And the result, it will wipe out human beings that are causing the problem in the first place. It's no different than the story of Noah. We live in a living, breathing order here. This is not just ecology. We're entitled to our cars. There's no reason why we have to become obsessive compulsive. We don't have to become excessive tree huggers or anything. But we have to know that we are dominion, and we create and we invent within a larger creation that has its rules and its regulations and its order, and we must be respectful. It's a fundamental spiritual change to the way Western civilization's economy has created. And, a little plug for my people, we didn't like the Roman Empire. We thought they were a little off base. Jesus said it was Caesar's coin. Okay, respect it, but let's not get carried away. So I think we really are going to reinvent this world. And I think we have mirrors and challenges of our own mistakes, such as other authoritarian regimes that are reflecting back to us our own evils. And we have to choose intelligently and spiritually and correctly how to approach it. Not right or wrong. Right and wrong doesn't work.
Correct works. Correct works. So
correct comes from the Latin, which means to govern together. To govern together. We have to make correct decisions.
So the 6 fix, tell us a little bit more about that. I know it's spiritual health care for a stronger America. Tell us a little bit more about what it actually is. So what do you hope somebody's left with when they read this book?
A basic guideline for how to live. Whether you believe in God or not believe in God, it's largely irrelevant. It's not state, or it's not church versus state. I don't hardly mention the word God in the entire book. There is an order here. Whether it just exists, whether it's created by God, whether it is a cognitive appearance because of the way our bodies function, regardless, there's an order here. How do you operate in life? You produce good. And the bottom line is you think, whatever you say, whatever you do, seek good in everything that you do. Whatever you think, whatever you say, whatever you do, seek good. And God is the experience of good on the most basic level. There are more higher levels, but in the more basic levels, God is the experience of good. Okay? And when you experience good, you experience God. You experience God's blessings, if you want to use religious terms. All right? If you want to not use religious terms, you can say, hey, I manifested my reality and it's good. You can choose any terms you want. Okay? And that's what the book is fundamentally about, because there's only one fundamental spiritual law, sowing and reaping. What you cause is what you affect. What you do has a result. Okay? What you think, say, and do has a result. It doesn't have a result just because of you. It has a result because we have an order here. And if you violate the order, you get it back. So it's a very simple book that distills down so much stuff to a simple spiritual guideline. It can be framed and expressed in any religious language or non-religious language. It doesn't make a difference. There's only one world here. It has an order to it. And that's how the book does it. And it does it by teaching life-centered priorities. Okay? What are the healthy value systems? And also relationships. The values are health, peace, freedom, wisdom, the expression of your full potential as a human being, and prosperity. Those are the values in the correct orders. But we also have to have it for ourselves, which is the great American invention. We have to have it for another, all others. Future generations, we have to make correct decisions that are for the future, not just for ourselves myopically. You don't want myopia. We have to make decisions for all life and creation because there's an interdependence between us all. And no one's perfect, Jim. We are all going to make mistakes, but we can all agree on that great American principle called continuous improvement. We constantly continue to improve, sowing and reaping goodness for ourselves, each other, all others, future generations, all life and creation with continuous improvement. And that's basically the six fix. And there are six little things. It's catchy, little madman.
I like that. Yeah.
But that's what it is. And it's
Yeah.
well, of everything I have ever written,
Yeah.
it's honestly, it's the single book that has affected the most people, the ones who read it.
And why do you think that is from your perspective?
It's a guilt eraser. It's a guilt eraser. It teaches you, guilt is a very funny emotion. When you rebel against lines in order to express yourself, you feel guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the guilt, there's a certain truth of responsibility that you have to pay attention to. There's a certain pain because you were taught that responsibility in a way that was poisonous. So this is a guilt eraser. It teaches clean lines of living, respect for diversity, and respect for order. Okay? And does it in a way where the individual can still be in a living relationship with the order that we're surrounded by.
Yeah.
It's a guilt eraser. You get the old-fashioned traditional values and the freedoms and the diversities, and it gives you a mental framework by which you can get a really functional balance, one where you can actually make political decisions, because the same little laws that I highlight in the book, they work in your family, they work in schools. It's just how life functions. Whenever something goes wrong, you're going to find there was a six fix that was not in its correct order. All you have to do, it's like a little map to how life works,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
a lot of suffering. I suffered a lot before I could put it down for myself and my kids.
It's amazing because you didn't have to necessarily, although maybe you did. You probably needed to write this book. It was something that you just
I did.
could not do, right? You had to do
I
it.
had to.
And having lived the experiences, what's as painful and frustrating and all the other things that come with it, they might have been and be, it makes it very relatable to somebody else who might be experiencing something similar.
Sure.
Here he is opening up and sharing and giving us these tools and this understanding of life in a way that's so open and emotive. They will connect with it, and then they will take from the book different ways that they can sort of maybe fill their cup a little bit more in their lives, right?
Sure. Well, everyone is kind of the analogy I use is kind of like a strip of Velcro. Everyone has a strip of Velcro on the inside. They're going to read this book and the fuzzballs are going to stick. All right, exactly where they're supposed to stick in order to help them along the way. Everyone's going to read the book completely differently because their Velcro is in different places.
It's in different places, right? That is funny.
Yeah.
And I love the title of the other book as well. And I mean, both of them are fantastic, but Soul Lesson from the Wizard of Oz, How to Follow Your Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah.
And of course, the yellow brick road, analogy is always just leading off to this beautiful land of positivity and hope and kindness. And what was the inspiration for writing that book, Mike?
Oh, I have always had this sense, I could smell it even as a child, that the story of the Wizard of Oz was teaching me something, and I didn't know what it was, but I was constantly drawn to it. And even in fourth grade, I devour all of the books, and actually read the books. And one day it just hit me like a ton of bricks what the book was saying to me. And I think I was in my early 40s when I'd say 20 years of subconscious thinking about the story just hit me, and I was ready to really understand the book. And at that time, I was looking for a way to teach people without getting lost in biblical tradition and all sorts of academics. I wanted a simple, easy way to illuminate a spiritual path, which is what the Yellow Brick Road is. And the story of the Wizard of Oz just kind of burst out. And one day it just kind of, oh my God, that's it. That's it. That's everything I had ever suffered from. That's the reason I did it. And now I know how to heal it. It's very simple. You know, I am a soul. I am a Dorothy, which comes from the word, um, a gift from God. I'm a soul, a Dorothy, you know, and I have a mind that's a scarecrow. I have a heart that's a tin man. And I have a cowardly lion that's my will. And I'm so hateful and so cruel to myself that I think I'm dumb, unfeeling, and absolutely weak and, you know, with no courage. And the whole path begins, happiness begins when we say, I'm smart. I am good. I'm not, my head's not all filled with fodder, as the song goes. You know, I have a good heart. Okay. It's there. Sometimes I think it's empty, but it's not. It is there. And when your heart, I'm going to give everyone out there a general rule in life, you know, don't make a decision unless your mind and your heart are in agreement. When they are in agreement, then you can add your will. And usually, unless your boundaries are a little off, which is the other book, you're going to get a really good result. Your heart and your mind have to be working together. You know, it's before, it's the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and Dorothy as they walk down the Yellow Brick Road together, arm in arm. You know, and our bodies have to be involved, which is the little totem animal,
Right.
always following Dorothy around. You know, the biggest mistake we make in life, Jim, is that we think we're only one person when we are a complex, multifaceted being. We just have to learn how to make our carburetor work with our, with our fuel tank, with our, spark plugs. I mean, we have to make the pieces work together. And honestly, The Wizard of Oz is such a joyful story that actually teaches us how to do it.
So, how do you lay out the actual book? Is it like a step-by-step guide, or in terms of the way that you fashion the book for the reader?
I follow the sequence in the movie. Warner Brothers was very, very nice. No, it was MGM. What was it?
MGM.
It was MGM. They were very nice, and they permitted me to do it. I follow the sequence in the movie because the movie is the most known. So, as Glinda said in the story, you always begin at the beginning.
Right.
So the story begins in Kansas because that's really what we're suffering from right now. We're in Kansas, with apologies, by the way, to that fair state. It's, I am not maligning. I'm not anti-Kansan by any means.
Are we
But
all crying out for our anti-M's?
that's exactly what we're doing. I mean, we are in a gray, black and white, everything's black and white, divisive, colorless, stuck in a corral in a pen. You can't get out. If you want to express yourself and bark a little bit and be joyful, Elvira Gulch is trying to shut you down, trying to steal your totem animal, your little Toto, and imprison it in a basket and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Right? She's going to exterminate the dog. Okay? These are the things that we're all wrestling with as human beings. And the story begins with Kansas, and we all have to take a big leap forward like Dorothy did in the movie. We've got to be courageous and brave. And sometimes we have to tear away from the place that we love most in order to grow and become a new person. And she does that in this story. She does that.
You know,
First,
the timing of the book, both books, but this one especially is extraordinary just with everything that's going on, because a lot of what you just said is what a lot of people have been doing during this year we've experienced. A lot of people have been looking in the mirror and saying, do I like what I see as far as the reflection? Have I been living my authentic self? Have I really been filling my cup? Have I been doing the things that really matter to me and that I love? Have I been nurturing those relationships that really matter? And some people have actually made tremendous shifts in relationships, in careers, in some of the things that they say that now they really want to do. They were serving something else, but now they need to, uh, look for the happiness and joy in doing the things they've always wanted to do and didn't have time to do in our busy lives. They've been baking bread, they've been gardening, they've been going out in nature and getting connected with the simple things in life and connecting with family and friends again, but also we've all been looking at ourselves and saying, are we really living our life's purpose? Do we even know what that is? And do we want to, search for it, find it, and then live it and share it with the world? And it just has been a very profound time, tremendous loss, tremendous sadness, but tremendous hope and a shift, a change where we've all been given a gift of sorts to pause and say, okay, that wasn't serving me. That wasn't really what I wanted to do. But I was doing it because it was the thing to do. It was the right thing to do. It was what everybody else did. But now I think there's much more authenticity that's coming out that people are sharing, which will be a more beautiful thing, I think, in the end.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does this make sense what I'm saying as far as this? People are looking in the mirror and
Dorothy, we're all Dorothy, we're all souls. And COVID put us face to face with death. We couldn't run and distract ourselves. Okay. We had to get a little more inward because we couldn't, run out for a slice of pizza. And so many of us decided to make the trip to Oz. We decided to leave the barnyard, leave the gray, leave the Technicolor, and really go somewhere over the rainbow. And that's really what I think is happening. And I think COVID is a great instrument for change. It's God's blessing. Sometimes the punishment is the form by which we wake up. It's a chastisement by love. So we all have to go from Kansas and begin to set out, like Dorothy did on the way to Oz, but be careful of the guilt when you make change, because, Professor Marvel comes along and then she gets frightened out of guilt for leaving, and she runs back and the guilt goes underground, meaning in the storm cellar. And then you get this whirlwind, So you be careful about the guilt when you make change. Just make change in a way that includes everyone around you so that you're not constantly tearing the fabric of life when you make your change.
So the guilt is generally oftentimes self-imposed, and because we feel guilty, we don't make the change because others might not like the change we make, or it might not agree or align with what they've always told us we should be doing and how we should be living and what we should be believing in and all these different things. So it's like a self-limiting belief in a way, huh?
Right. The structure to our lives, all right, has included relationships to people. And we can change on the inside, want to change, and we want to make new steps. But we have already committed ourselves to relationships that are there. And it's kind of like, the way I teach it, Jim, is it's kind of like a puzzle. Every person is a puzzle piece. And if you make your change and decide to shift, your puzzle piece is going to change its shape. And that's going to force everyone around you to change the shape of their puzzle piece if they want to stay connected to you and stay, stay with love together. So when you make a change, when you begin the shift from Kansas to Oz, your puzzle piece is going to change, and you've got to be aware that it's going to put tremendous stress on the people who love you simply because they're connected, and you're going to change habits. It's kind of like what happens in a 12-step program if you're alcoholic. Once you begin to change, then the entire system that was built around your dysfunction has to change. And it's no different for any shift when you're going from a Kansas to an Oz. It follows the same exact spiritual laws.
How do we know when we're making the shift? Are there clear and typical signs that we're heading that direction, or is it very different for everybody?
No, it's different for everyone, but it has a similar pattern. Unless you're being walked through it hand by hand by a spiritual mentor who helps you avoid the pitfalls, people will notice they steel up, STEEL. They become, I'm going to. They become very dogmatic, very walled up because they have to move in a whole new direction. And they know on the inside that the old strings are pulling them back. You see?
Yeah.
So they become very forceful. They become very, declarative. It's like any of the movements, by the way, the Black movement, the gay movement, the women's movement. They all go through that stage where they have to wall up because they have to change themselves and change society. Okay. And that's a sign that's going to change because you're changing your mind first. You're changing your thought patterns. You haven't enfleshed it. It hasn't become embodied yet. But your mind has to separate so that you can individuate and have an identity apart from what you had before. And it can be a very, very painful thing. Without proper tutoring, it can be very painful. And if that happens, you'll get a rebound. The hippies will become yuppies. The ones who threw off the money will become the greediest generation in the history of the world. So you have to be very, very careful with rebound, because that's what happens when you steel up and you're fighting where you came from in order to be free. And that's why Dorothy runs right back to Auntie Em and gets stuck in a storm cellar with a cyclone.
What about somebody who's a people pleaser? So they're always putting others ahead of themselves, whether it's family, friends, and sort of going along with whatever everybody else wants to do and always running to everybody else's aid and rescuing everybody. What about folks that are like that, who are good-hearted, but they put themselves second, so they find it hard to be able to tweak and evolve and change for their own individual good?
Well, that's a really important question. This may seem a little like I'm handling it from an unusual platform. A lot of the rules and regulations of how to be were framed in life and death situations. And people sacrifice themselves as individuals for the sake of the common good. We're in a war mode. And in that kind of situation where there's truly a greater good, like, you throw yourself on the bus and you throw your kid away so that the bus doesn't hit the kid, it hits you. In that kind of situation, that kind of self-sacrifice, which is really martyrdom, is appropriate. But that's how crazy people have gotten. They think everything is life and death.
Yeah.
And they approach everything as if it's a martyrdom situation where they put themselves second to other people. And if they don't do that correctly, that kind of self-service, that's servicing others correctly, it just builds up anger.
And
It builds up
resentment.
resentment. Then you'll medicate it with alcohol or drugs. Look, the the it's back to the other book, but the most important relationship priority is take care of yourself first. That's the truth of America. You got to take care of yourself first. You put the oxygen mask on your face first if there's a bumpy ride on the plane, even before your kids, because you won't be able to take care of them. You see, you have to do a good job taking care of and providing and thinking for yourself. Now, if you don't, someone's going to create a government to teach you how.
It's very funny that you use that oxygen mask reference, because because that is the reference that I use. And long story short, because I've shared it on these shows before and on air elsewhere, but I actually had to learn to put the oxygen mask on myself first.
That's right.
And that's because of being raised, within a loving family that always has run to everybody else's, to be, helpful to everybody else and making sure everybody else is cared for and they have what they need and everything is, everybody's safe and sound and fed and everything. So I was always, and still am, that doesn't fully go away. I think it's a plus, but help thy fellow man, first. So it took me being on a television shoot in Las Vegas, Nevada, and being in a town called Pahrump, Nevada, interviewing this renowned oil painter. And after the whole shoot ended, the next day in the morning, we wrapped and we had a whole half day left. So the camera crew went back to Los Angeles. I still had like a good part of that next day with a rental car to wait it out until my flight leaves Las Vegas to come back east. So I took the rental car and I wanted to drive. I like to explore. I like to learn. I like to, I'm a very visual person and my eyes like to soak in and feel a lot of different things. So through that, I wanted to drive through this place that I've never been to before called Pahrump, Nevada, where we were shooting. And I was driving and driving and, there was some wacky weather that happened and it was just really very breathtaking, desert, mountains, raw, rugged. And I kept getting drawn, the car and myself kept getting pulled to the entrance of Death Valley.
Interesting.
And, I was never a fan necessarily of death. Even I was very aware of it early on as a child. I just was very conscious that this worldly existence for all of us and everything does come to an end. And then we, hopefully move on elsewhere to heaven or what have you. But that everybody in my house is going to disappear, as am I, from this existence. So I was always very conscious of that and aware of that early. So for some reason, no matter what turn I took as I was on this visual journey looking at Pahrump, Nevada, I was drawn to the entrance, this one sign with an arrow. It's not like the entrance of an amusement park with lights and glitter and, $10 admission tickets. It's just a sign and an arrow. And there's that road you always see in the movies, lonely. The humidity is bouncing off it. It's dry, it's barren, and there's no end. And for some reason, without telling anybody, without being planned, having it planned out. There was no excess water. There was no charged cell phones. I'm in a rental car. I don't know what's going to happen to this car. Nobody was told in advance that I was doing this. And you didn't have the extra people in the car that they always tell you to have. If you're going to drive through Death Valley, have somebody else in the car with you. Have the car checked out. Have your cell phone. Have food. Have blankets. Have the stuff you need. Because you're going into Death Valley, you're going into Never Land. And I didn't have any of that. And something pushed me to go in. And I went in. And at first, I had tremendous guilt. The word you used earlier, the guilt was something that I had felt before in other circumstances. And the guilt was because I'm very communal and I like to feed off the energy of others. Probably why I'm a host. I like to create atmosphere and scenarios and bring us all together through that. I like to be in movie theaters and we're watching the Titanic sink and we all feel the same thing for that one moment at the same time. There's something very connecting about that. None of that was going to happen alone in a rental car in August in Death Valley. So I'm driving in and the guilt is there. And that guilt was strong. And with the guilt actually was trying to tell me to turn the car back, go to the hotel and just wait till a flight in the morning and then leave. And maybe one day you'll come back. And the guilt was that I didn't have family and friends in the car experiencing what I was experiencing. The energy, the visual beauty, the risk, the raw nature of it all. I had put Death Valley on a monumental, it's like we're going to the Grand Canyon, we're going to the Acropolis. It's on a pedestal, it's on a monumental plane. So here I am experiencing it without other people in the car. For me to hear the giggling and the joy and the oohs and ahs and wow, Jim, look at that. And oh, this is amazing. I wasn't hearing any of that. It was just me, the car, and the energy that was around me. So I felt guilty that I was experiencing something like this, as monumental as it seemed, without anybody else experiencing it with me. It was a singular sensation. So I felt those same energies that I said might have, sort of delivered this pandemic situation and everything to us last year. Those are the energies that I actually felt when I was driving alone. I felt a divine, I felt the energy of the earth, and I felt this pull of Mother Nature guiding me, saying, look, any one of us could wipe you out in a second. However, if you believe in us, if you trust us, we're actually going to be here to guide you through this. You can see the raw earth. You can see nature. You can feel the divine. We're going to be here to guide you through. If you believe in us and trust in us, and you have to trust in yourself. You don't have others here that you're entertaining or hosting or delivering smiles to. This is you and us and a rental car you know nothing about other than the make and model. You don't know, if it's going to get a flat tire 30 miles in. So you have a choice. You can continue, see what happens, or you can go back to the hotel. And I said, you know what? I'm going to continue. Even though I feel guilty that I'm not sharing this necessarily with other people right at the moment, I'm going to continue. And the further I started going in and driving in, there was a liberation. There was a release. There was this understanding that in order for scenarios like this, where I'm the only one in the room at the time, and this experience is happening to me right here, right now, unscripted, not planned. And there's not even enough time to get people on planes to come here to experience it because it's happening right now. Instead of turning back, resisting it and saying, oh, I'll come back one day with the family and friends, experience it now. Experience it right now because you're being given a gift of sorts. So I actually continued and I drove through all the way through and then all the way back in August heat, not knowing what turn was leading to what, with no guide other than those three energies, and in this rental car without anybody knowing I was doing it. It had to involve risk. It had to be a barren strip location. My Zen place is the ocean. Here on the East Coast, we have the ocean. It's a beautiful Zen, the tide, the flow. The ocean is larger than me. And I have great respect for the ocean, and I'm always in it and near it. It couldn't have been a city with energy and life and skyscrapers and music and noise. It couldn't have been a forest where there's trees and life and shadows and silhouettes. It had to be raw earth where I actually saw the dry earth. It had to be barren, hot, and, on a road that leads to possibly Oz possibly hell. Who knows where it leads? It had to be that for me to really appreciate this singular sensation of this gift. Coming back, there were major experiences, life changing. It was actually only about 2 years ago that this happened. And I've only shared it limited here on this show, a couple of other shows that I do, and with family and friends. People have said you should write a book on it, and people have said we don't need to be in the car with you because the way you describe it, we feel like we were in the car with you. 3 major things resulted from doing that. Number one was that the earth will continue to spin on its axis, whether I always rescue it, while I always answer the phone and put, if I've got some fire smoldering, put my fire on hold and run to everybody else's fire with a bucket of water, make sure their fire's out, then go to mine. The world's going to continue spinning on its axis, whether you do that or not. So maybe release that a little bit, where you don't always have to say yes. You don't always have to say, I agree. You don't always have to say, don't worry about it. I've got it. You leave, you go home. I got it under control. I'll take care of it. You don't always have to say that. The world will not stop if you do those things, which are actually some really good things to do for yourself. The second was the mask, the understanding that I'm experiencing the grandeur of this Desert Valley experience without others here. This is a friend of mine who wrote this book. His name is David Friedman. He's a noted composer, but he also does this thing called the Thought Exchange. He's in New York. He's in Connecticut. When I told him the story, he says, you know what you were in touch with? The whole time you were in touch with self. There weren't the others there with you that you were bouncing the energy off of, and they're giving the energy back, and it's a flow of energy. With people, it's you and these other energies, and it was totally self. And it was an amazing gift that you were given. The mask, I understand now. I understand that when you're on that plane, because I use that reference, and it's uncanny you brought it up, because every time I was on a plane and I heard the flight attendant say that, I would go, that is so selfish. That is so narcissistic. That's greedy. I'm going to grab the thing and make sure it's not, and then this person may be struggling, fiddling with it, but I'm going to get it on me first. And I'm not even going to, my automatic response is to turn to them and say, are you okay? You're good. Okay. And then put mine on. Now I understand that in order to do that for others, you have to have the oxygen. You have to have the breath. You have to have that to be able to do it for the greater good of everybody else. The third thing was the understanding that there will be experiences that happen in my life that will be where I'm just the only one in the room, and it's happening right now. That's it. I don't have to have all these other people in the room to heighten the experience. There's going to be times where I walk into a room and this thing is happening now, and you can either turn away or you can let it in. And they were very impactful and very major things that occurred, and liberating in many different ways. And people will say, well, gee, that's quite special. And then I'll say, gee, I just wish it happened when I was 20 or when I was 30 or what have you. And most people say it wasn't supposed to. You were not ready. You might not have recognized it. You might have turned away from it. You had to live life and the experiences and the people and the journeys and develop the wisdom even deeper than you already had when you were 5 to really soak in this gift. When that car felt like it was constantly being pulled to the entrance of Death Valley, you had to be ready to take the gift and absorb it. And because I do say, why didn't it happen when I was 20? That would have been cool. And they said, you wouldn't have been ready. You had to live life in order to come to the point where you're on this TV shoot, the shoot ends, and now you're at the entrance of Death Valley of all places, and you actually go in it and you experience these radical, incredible things that just enhance what you already are. Now, there have been a couple people as a result, and it's kind of, again, leading up to what you said earlier. There's like not everybody likes that change. Not everybody likes the fact that I put the mask on me first. They want me to put the mask on them first. They don't like that I can't always say, yes, I'll be there in a second. Don't worry, I gotta, I've got a fire going and I'll just let mine burn, but I'll run to yours. I'll tell people I will be right there, but first I have a fire I have to get to first. Let me put that out and I'll be right there with the bucket of water for yours. Not everybody's used to that. Not everybody's, likes that. So there have been a couple people who have been periphery people who've just sort of fell off the face of the earth a little bit because I'm not always their savior. I'm not always there rescuing them or, always hearing their troubles and solving them for them. But what it has done is it's brought in this extraordinary new energy that goes even deeper, and a flock of all these other people who are like, we want you at our party. We want to collaborate with you. We want you a part of this project. We want to create with you. We want your energy. We're drawn to whatever this is that you have always had, but has now been deepened and heightened. We want you. We have to have you near us, around us. And I find that absolutely fascinating. So I'm very in touch with a lot of what you're saying, because what you're saying, I have been experiencing. Does that make sense too?
No, because I wish I had hours to sit with you and just talk. It's just, we will do everything to avoid death. We will do good things for people and constantly overwork to make sure everyone is safe, and we are avoiding death, and we're avoiding death and preventing the negative stuff from taking place. You had a massive spiritual heightening of who you were. In a disease-ridden country, questions were on your heart that you couldn't even frame, and you even drove a vehicle representing your body. It was Psalms. Yea, though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I shall fear no evil. And you let go of overworking, if you don't mind me saying it. You let go of burying yourself by overworking to be good. And you said, you know what? I'm God's child first. And then from that standpoint, I can share. You validated yourself. All right. Whereas before, you were validating others to feel good. It's the core spiritual shift when Dorothy leaves that pigsty. She has to face the death. And the house crashes, and the first witch gets killed, the witch of contraction of the East. She gets killed. And then the way you described Death Valley was exactly haunted forest. I'd turn back if I were you. It's right. It's right from the story where the vulture is standing there. You faced the core experience that hold people back from being themselves, which is core fear of death. And I think, honestly, it's flashing on the screen. Each day is a blessing, and you realize you framed yourself correctly. What is my relationship to God and creation and life? This is the new framework. Okay. And you built from there, and it's a higher level of spiritual power. So of course you lost a few people who couldn't go there, and who were addicts and drawing upon you, and you were addicted to the fact that they were drawing on them, and you lost them. But you reconstituted yourself at an Oz level, at a higher level above the rainbow. This is common spirituality. It happens all the time, and life is always speaking to us and teaching. And each of these tiny events in our lives are instructions, but we have to realize that life is living and is always teaching us every moment in the day, and be able to hear and see the lessons that are in front of us. But you had a watershed event. true watershed event that's a soul shift, and you'll never be the same.
That's
You'll never,
true. Yeah, that's true.
it's not the last one.
Is that the last one?
No, I think I'm a little older than you. I assure you, it's not the last one you're going to have.
You
But that
know,
was core. That was a core issue because there were fears around death that you were hiding from.
and I would say that also a people pleaser type, and it runs within the family, all the relatives in the family, everybody, uh, runs to everybody else's aid and puts themselves aside.
Mhm.
And it's a beautiful thing. And I still do that, but yet realize that I have one life and that I'm here now as well. And there's a few things, maybe I want to have a dish of the vanilla ice cream too.
Exactly. And also, let me, you're touching on the spirituality behind what's in the news regarding herd immunity, or your individual immunity. These are very much spiritual issues where you have a direct providential connection to the source of things, or you have a connection to the source of things through the group, herd immunity. Just like there were people in 9/11 who woke up in the morning and just had this terribly strange inkling that they shouldn't show up to work, and they were preserved. There is a direct connection to divinity, or nature with a capital N, and accessing it is the best thing you can do for everyone else, because you're going to be a stronger component in the herd. You'll be a leader, not a follower. So you did a good job. But the initial changes when you're going from the herd mentality to your true self with a capital S, it can be heart-wrenching. For
Mm.
those people who are biblically based, that's the story of Abraham and Sarah. And that is also the more sublime individuation that takes place when Jesus is in the desert and he gets tempted.
It had to be the desert. It had to be stripped
Had to
raw
be
earth.
stripped down of all the fineries and all of the fancies in the television show, and you had to be naked before your God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And felt guided by a divine nature and the energy of being on a planet. Those were very strong. The
Yes.
strongest I ever felt them.
Yes. And that is the foundation of democracy. I don't want not to get too political. Without honing that experience, okay, without developing that spiritual gift and grace, we can't perfect democracy. That is its foundation. Enlightened consciousness. Then your vote has meaning, and it's not pandering, and it's just opinionocracy. So it's everyone needs to wake up and go from Kansas to Oz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And that's how we can heal our country, which is a great, great experiment in something that has never been seen before in the history of the world.
Beautifully said.
You know?
Beautifully said. Yeah.
So that's a great story. Great story.
The Death Valley story, I call it. It's really interesting because a number of people, friends of mine who are very, deep into spiritual work, things of that nature, as well as even experts I've interviewed in my professional work in television and radio, each have said the same thing without knowing somebody else said it. And they have said, Jim, you operate from a higher consciousness. The way you see things, the way you feel things, the way you taste things, the way just your senses, your understanding, the depth of it all, the feeling of it all are heightened. The second thing they constantly say without knowing the others are saying it, you are an intuitive. You have this intuitive understanding to be able to almost not predict things that happen, but just get certain vibes and certain feelings. I've been able to, I shouldn't use the word save. Or rescue, but I've been able to direct a few people over the years to not go down a path, or this particular individual might be turn into bad situation, and they've followed that. Some haven't, and it did happen. And then the third thing is high level empath. I keep hearing high level empath. And as I kept hearing that, I was exploring that more and then tied in that Death Valley story. And I said, you know what? Death Valley just solidified and confirmed and heightened that. But I can think back to teenage years and childhood where I always felt that way. I was always aware and had an understanding and at a very early age of humanity, of the human condition, of relationships, communal experiences, inspiration, very, very early.
Sure.
Death Valley didn't deliver news to me that I was never aware of. What it did was it solidified it even more and brought it to a completely different level for me exclusively, which I think, because I always surrounded that I was aware of with everybody else, this solidified it for self, which I think was pretty darn cool.
Well, it was time, and I guarantee you it happened right at a certain plateau in your life where if you didn't get that lesson, you would have gone down. I mean, there was some kind of challenge, I guarantee you, that came right before that experience where you need to deepen your sense of your power as a man. And because these things do happen, you know, I don't want to fill your head with too much, but names are highly significant, you know, like the name Dorothy. Is the Masters show? I mean, is that what this is about? You know, with with levity. I mean, is that what you in your heart here on the show? The Masters show?
Yeah.
Oh, the brother of Jesus is your first name? I mean, this could be very significant, not to fill you with too much, but you know, it's a very strange world, and our names are they point us in the directions of our lives, and they have meanings when we're named it. So don't be so surprised if you discover that this show is a lot deeper than you really thought when you began it. But you know, these are real human experiences, and I didn't know how to frame it for people. Thank God I had the little story of the Wizard of Oz that had been haunting me my whole life, and it helped me put it together.
Right.
Your wicked witch that needed to be, you know, to bring back the broomstick was Death Valley.
Death Valley.
You know, you had to face it and melt it, and then you could get your power as a wizard.
It's really interesting because what you're saying as far as my name, James, and Masters, tying in with all of this, this particular series, the Jim Masters Show Live, has been a fascinating experiment in many ways. When we turned on the lights almost a year ago and started doing this, I always had the thought, people for years told me to do a show like this. And I've hosted many different kinds of shows on television, radio over the years, and stage, and interviewed 6,000 people, all of that, which is wonderful. But this particular show, because I'm maybe the conductor of the train, because there is nobody else telling me where to stand and what to say and what to do and what to deliver and what's the message. And it is 100% me pouring out through entertainment, guest interviews, all of the wonderful things that are a part of that. But underneath all of that is exactly what you just said. It's exactly what you
look for people who are.
That's why you do what you do.
I just thought I'd do it because, you know, ducks quack and birds fly. And,
that's what happens.
You know, but you know, look, if you're as highly empathic,
this was meant to be, you know, this conversation, this you as a guest on this show, I look at as part of a piece in an ongoing puzzle. the journey of life. Somehow, some way, we were supposed to be linked here at this time and be on a show while everybody's commenting and watching and getting something out of it. This was supposed to happen, just like Death
I
Valley.
feel, this is the first time, I'm actually meeting you and seeing you, and I do feel a connection. I do, but for someone who's as empathic as you, and I think you're more so than me, the downside of that degree of empathy is getting tied down by your feelings and love for other people, so you lose yourself.
Correct.
And if the Death Valley experience is the beginning of spiritual individuation, where you know the framework, yourself without all the other stuff around it, naked before God, aware that this is it and you're going to die, so you got to do it well. If that was the correction to the empathy, we could say that this show is the unification of the two. You're an individual, you're clearly leading the conversation in the tonality, and it's so badly needed. At the same time as you're empathic, you're connecting to people, but you're not drowning in people. You're leading people, but you're not disconnecting people. That's really quite a developmental stage. I mean, that's quite an achievement for someone, if you don't mind me saying.
I appreciate that.
Easy. That's that whole struggle between groups and individuals. We talked about it earlier. How much of an individual are you before you disconnect? And how much do you control other people with group until you lose the spiritual gift of individuality, which is democracy? I think you have a lot to offer.
A lot of people have said over the years, but even more so lately, they get ministerial vibes from me. They feel at ease, comfort. They feel like they're not threatened, judged. There's no judgment, that there's trust, and I'm there to make sure that the train will stay on the track, that they'll be safe, everything will be okay, and there's a reassurance. I hear that even from, in my professional work, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies that come on, some of the other shows I host, that say, I've never had an experience like that where I have felt, I told you things, I cried. I told you things that I never, ever told anybody. I'm stoic, they would say, the guest. I'm talking business here, but I can't believe what just happened. And they'd be apologizing for emoting and maybe tearing up or whatever, because maybe they just felt comfortable enough to get to a certain level. And I'd say, no need to apologize. Don't apologize. You're expressing, your authentic self. And I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing. So we won't be judged because you're the CEO of a Fortune 500 company and you're now, feeling like you're maybe like a little 5-year-old kid or anything. You're not. You're still you. You still have your credentials. But you're human, and I recognize that, and I'm not here to judge that. I probably, have days I feel the same way, that you're expressing what you're expressing. I've been hearing that a lot too.
This is the yellow brick road. This is the conscious spiritual path. Yellow is power in the Hindu chakra system. It's gold in the right side of the Kabbalistic tree of life. It's the sun power, and what you're describing is a very real, understandable experience, which has rules and regulations on how it functions. Okay, it has a way of doing it. It's like going through any life change. But the problem is that a lot of the teachers out there, a lot of clergy, they don't have actually hands-on individual spiritual experience. So they have some book learning, which is very valuable. They have insights that they've gleaned, which is always very valuable. But we're very fortunate in this era. There's a lot of spiritual awakening taking place, and I don't want it to go. You have to be careful of the trap of ego No, that's the poppies that put you to sleep right before you get to the Emerald City.
Right.
You fall asleep.
That's it.
Be careful of ego. But, there is a spiritual awakening, and, you are on the train, and the train is building. It's, as I said before, there is a revolution, and it's a peaceful, loving, powerful revolution. And we don't have to be afraid. We just have to join the train, and you're on it. And certainly hope we can be friends beyond the interview that was arranged,
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
it's a very powerful thing. And it hurts me. I feel great, sadness for the CEO, because I do a lot of CEO counseling as well. You were reflecting, I believe, in him what he needed to begin to find. Okay. He resonated off of that, and he began to touch his next change. And this is as you move up the ladder, what happens is you're sent students, and they just happen to come, and they need what you've already mastered. Okay. And as you move up and you've finished a certain job, usually you're sent a student. Okay. And you give to the student that which you learned. And by doing that, you do a couple of things. They get a boost up the ladder. Okay. But you have an opportunity to teach them in a way that repairs the world from the damage that you had learning it. If you make a bunch
Right.
of mistakes climbing a ladder, when you master it, a student comes along, you share that knowledge, and you've repaired the world from tumbling over your knickers as a toddler, or skimming your knees, or insulting people, or doing very, very bad things. You repair the world. It's what we Jews call a tikkun. And it's normal and natural. It's part of the spiritual design of this world. We have to open our eyes to see that this is a spiritually designed world. And that doesn't mean it's not material. Material is the same as spiritual. Spiritual is the same as material. We're just talking about scales on how we view things. It's one world. But there are spiritual laws, and there is an order here. And you have to learn how it works. And you are learning. I mean, you're being taught by life itself, which I think is a good synonym for God. And,
I keep hearing another phrase, and it's amazing because you're picking all these things out. I think you're very intuitive yourself.
yeah, I am.
Understated
Don't
leader.
notice it too, but I do pick these things out.
They have said Jim, you are an understated leader. I'm not the guy who bursts through the door and says, "All right, let's go, rah rah rah, let's rock it." I'm much more of an authoritative, understated leader,
Sure.
which is an interesting. I would agree with that.
Are you the second born? Do you have an older brother?
I'm actually the oldest.
That's very unusual, because usually
Yeah,
your kind of personality comes from the second born son.
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Wow, that's really an accomplishment. Ask your mom about your birth. You might discover certain things about yourself that were there from the moment you were born.
Mm.
Ask if she felt some kind of light in the room.
See, that bell went off.
Yeah, I know.
Was that?
My computer, I'm getting all of these.
Were you getting some sort of a message from
Yeah, I
above?
don't want to filter out the bing bings on the computer while we're doing these.
That was a message from above, wasn't it?
Oh, it's always a lesson from above.
It's always a message.
But what you're experiencing and you're describing, it's their
Of which I didn't think I would be sharing today, but just the energy that we have here is so rich that I said, you know what? I'm going to share it with Michael right now.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary experience. Okay. I can't tell you, I'm an old man now. It's the true normalcy. It's the true normal. What other people consider to be normal, we think it's normal, but it's not. It's just more of them. This is the true normal human being that you're describing, with this kind of connection. The only other piece of the puzzle is how to connect this sacred individuality, this Adam in Hebrew, Adam. It's not just a man's name. It means humankind, male and female. Eve is an Adam. Okay. This Adam have to connect it to other people and how to build a society, to build human history. We have to learn how to do that. And there are different operative rules when you're dealing with other people, but you've got to found it on sacred individuality for those who are Bible-based out there. There's a reason why the individual comes first and then the group comes second. The Bible is fundamentally a democratic document, but it's clothed in very, very ancient language, and it's hard to really see it. But it teaches that the individual spirituality is the foundation of society and moral laws and legal laws. We can't forget that, because our amazing country, America, unearthed that whole natural law that had been forgotten and distorted by authoritarian religions. And we can't lose that in the US. It is absolutely essential that we keep this light alive. Okay. And God bless some of my evangelical brothers and sisters who are really trying very hard to keep these biblical values correctly taught. And there's distortions all along on both sides of the camp. But the true individual sacredness of self, you use the key word self, in relationship to God and creation and the sharing of that in human history, that's the path.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're trying to do. And we will do it.
Yeah.
We're just going to have an awakening now. We're going to have a little bit of lessons on our own authoritarianism, which is reflected back to us through Russia and China. We're going to have to get clear on the issues of control and authority. They're mirrors for us to learn from. But we will learn that, okay? And we hopefully we won't have to go through the valley of death again, and we'll get the lessons of COVID. But this is all good stuff. And this is why I'm very optimistic, because of, honestly, people like you, I can't tell you how rare you were when I was growing up. And there's so many more of you now. I'm not quite as lonely as I was as a child.
But you seem, there's something in your eyes, there's a peace, there's a contentment that I see. You're content and you're at peace. It's a grand time in your life, isn't it?
It is. In fact, it's so grand.
I picked that energy up from just looking at you.
My Tin Man, my Scarecrow, my Cowardly Lion, my Toto, the Yellow Brick Road.
They've all sort of
my evil witches are fine. My Glinda is fine. I own my broomstick. And you know what's really nice about the whole thing too, and this is exciting, I'm going to be, God willing, I'm going to be a grandfather.
Congratulations.
On June 15th, my daughter Zoe is about to give birth.
Congratulations.
And that's really exciting. So it is a turning event for myself and my wife Teddy and my son Adam and the rest of the family.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, so it is a turning point, and I'm loving the elder that I have become. I'm not old.
No.
But I'm not frivolous and trying to be young.
You know what I mean? You're wise.
There is a seasoned nature to balance my more reckless wildness of my youth. That it's a lot. Yes, it's folding into the point where I can give back naturally, because I have a lot less work to do in terms of maintaining families and stuff. So I am enjoying it. And I also feel, honestly, I've been so out of sorts for so much of my life trying to figure this stuff out so I could teach it, that I really feel my time has come. I feel like the world has been, in a way, raising me to get to the point where I can speak and we can handle this terrible divisiveness between people, and the lack of appreciation that even your enemy has something to teach you. Even your enemy is a gift in disguise. And so I'm kind of, I feel like it's my new career. I feel like I'm reaching my career path for the first time, that I am who I am for the first time, and I like it, and I'd like to stay around for a lot longer.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Juanita,
Juanita. Thank you,
yeah,
Juanita.
congratulations on
Thank
your
you, David.
grandchild. You'll
Thank
make
you
a
so much.
great wise grandfather. She's in
Thank
South
you. I made every
Africa.
mistake in the book when I was younger, so
You've learned. Yeah.
that's a nice thing.
Congrats from Kathleen in New York City.
Thank you, Kathleen.
And she also says, very interesting conversation and really nice comments coming in here. Christine in North Carolina says, this is really a deep, thought provoking discussion today, especially with the kind of year we've all experienced. Love your Death Valley story, Jim. And tonight's conversation seems to have taken on a deeper level still. I agree, Juanita. Jim's detailed description of Death Valley, his story was extremely deep today. An incredible conversation today. And more coming in here. Definitely feel comfortable with you. You have a calming effect. And congratulations again. I want to show the.
Thank you. I'm shifting positions because the sun was distracting us.
You were having this glow.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to get half a suntan. We want to show the books again. Where can people find the books? Are they on Amazon and the usual places?
Yes, they're on Amazon. You can go to your favorite bookstores as well, and I'm sure you can order it. But please, just ask to answer questions and open things up that you may have had in your heart but never had a chance to frame it. And I hope I've written it correctly to reach you. But this is a beautiful spiritual world, and it's everyday life. It's when Dorothy comes back to Kansas, she realizes she had it all, but she didn't know how to frame it.
Right.
She had to face her Death Valley, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay. And then she could see Auntie M, who was holding her back and saying, I loved her. She could see all her friends.
Right.
And with all their divisivenesses and crazinesses, and they were still perfect, but she had to awaken to self and individuate correctly. And that's the spiritual transformation that's necessary to ignite us as souls. But also, without it, democracy cannot function. It's just averaging idiotic opinions.
Before we go, what would be maybe some words of inspiration, wisdom for somebody who's really struggling right now, where this year has really taken a lot out of them as far as the essence of who they are, their authenticity? Perhaps they just feel very depressed, anxious, downtrodden, and all those self-limiting beliefs are circling around them like Black Hawks, and they don't know how to take a first step in that direction that we're talking about.
All right. So anyway, first step is you're in Kansas starting. Just start where you are. Let me give you just a simple analogy. There is truly a tapestry to life. And like all tapestries, the top part of it, where the design is, you can see it, and it's very beautiful. And you know exactly what the design is, and it's wonderful. That's the vision of where, if you're in trouble, you need to put your mind and head towards that beautiful vision. You need to have a vision. But under the tapestry are all the knots, all the strings, all the twists and turns. And without those little knots and twists and turns from mortal life, the sufferings, slings and arrows, you couldn't have the tapestry on the top. So you want to honor both. You want to get a clear vision. You want to trust that what the negative stuff that you're experiencing is just the stuff under the tapestry. What you want to do is find the vision that negative stuff is pointing to. Okay. And go in the direction of new, go in the direction of the promised land, even if you don't know where it's going. Say a prayer and commit yourself to change. And don't get tied up on the strings and the knots under the tapestry. They will teach you a lot of good human things that will be helpful to you when you become a grandfather. But you have to never let the negativity interfere with the reality that life is good. Life is good. And if you can't, in the midst of your confusion and trouble, affirm that life is good, you're not going to get out of the haunted forest. So the first thing is life is good. Another way to say that is there is a God, which is just a shorten for the word good. But life is good. And then see everything as, what is it teaching me for good? What is it teaching me for good? Now, if you can face anything that comes to you and answer the question, what is this teaching me for good? You will be on a spiritual path. I don't particularly like that term. It sounds a little highfalutin, but it's a search for God. It's the continued commitment for an experience of increased good. And that's what the path is about. And that's what the American dream is about. And that's what life is about. And it's pretty simple, but it can be painful at times. We're human and mortal.
That's what you just said right there. To remind ourselves of that, we are human and mortal is very, very important. Sometimes we think we are Superman and Superwoman, and that's not always the case.
I know we're natural creatures, but we're also supernatural creatures. We're the underside of the tapestry with the knots and the strings, but we're also a magnificent weave and a magnificent, design destined for greatness, just by the fact that God implanted a spirit in us that comes from God.
We've mentioned God throughout the conversation, and not only, obviously is that presence surrounding us right now, but I actually have him here with me, George Burns, who played God in the movie.
Yeah.
He thoroughly enjoyed the conversation immensely and learned a lot, and he sends you his best.
Thank you. It's very poetic that you did that. He went to school with my grandfather in Brooklyn. So
another 1 degree of separation.
Yeah.
And of course, then the whole New York connection. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, he did.
This was a blessing. I just want to show you some of the great comments coming in. This was an amazing conversation. Thank you, Michael,
for Juanita,
spending time with us and for all the words of wisdom. Life is good. Kathy in Cleveland says, such a deep, thoughtful conversation today. Austin Field says, another great show. We've really touched upon a lot of different things, freestyle and conversational, which is what I always enjoy. A lot of people will say, oh, do we have to script questions? Do we have to freestyle and conversational? You get these amazing energies and nuggets that just cannot be scripted, which I think are beautiful, because I work in an industry where a lot of things are scripted and perfected and beautified, which is great because you want to have things to aspire to, but you have to have some reality in there as well. Thank you, Michael, for being here with us from Kathleen Walker.
And thank you
in New York City. And this is amazing, Michael, and you're welcome back anytime. And I hope the show met whatever expectations that you had.
It did. I did not expect live. I didn't expect visual. At the last minute, I threw something on so I'd look decent, and I certainly didn't expect 2 hours. And unscripted and stuff. But it was an opportunity to just feel normal.
Yeah.
And it was good. It's good. And so I'm happy. I'm in the Levity Club.
Cool. That's what we like. High five. We can't touch, but we'll do a high five.
High five. Levity high five.
You are you as well. You as well. And
thank you.
Congratulations on the 2 books. We'll show them again before we wrap. And congratulations on the grandchild forthcoming and all the blessings in your life. And you're welcome back anytime. Let's stay in touch. Keep us. We're not far. We're in that tri-state area. Hopefully we'll break bread at some point, which would be really a wonderful thing. And I certainly hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
I did. I have a family. I have a new family.
You've got a new family. Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
You take care and you be well. And thanks for all the time. Everybody says when we do these conversations, like you said, 2 hours, it never feels like that. They always think it feels less than the time that we expended together.
Yeah, it's just it's just really life is present here. It's just natural and it's not forced and it's easy, but
Yeah.
it's just natural.
Now, as I always say to the guests, go stretch those legs and grab a snack.
But
Go stretch those
it's
legs.
timeless.
That's it.
Little presence of eternity. It's timeless.
Timeless. Thanks
Right?
again for joining us and
My pleasure.
blessing us with your presence. And we will chat again soon, I am sure. Thank you very much, Michael. You be well and you take care and enjoy
Thank
the
you,
rest
Jim.
of your
To
weekend.
everyone out there.
Lovely.
Love it.
Amazing conversation, amazing guest, as I told you he would be. The wisdom and the perspective is extraordinary. And what a great episode this was. I mean, I love all the episodes of our series, but this was really something extra special on a Saturday afternoon. And Christine Clifton says, thanks, Michael, for such an insightful and riveting conversation. I will look into buying your Soul Lessons from the Wizard of Oz book. This was truly incredibly deep and meaningful show today. Thanks. Our pleasure, Christine. I knew you would enjoy it as well. And that's what we like to do here on the show, freestyle conversation, sort of old school Dick Cavett style, Johnny Carson style, with a modern vibe and a modern twist of today. And it really was a wonderful conversation. And again, new grandfather he's going to be too in June. So that's a real blessing, right? That is beautiful. Author as well as Rabbi Michael Shevack here joining us this afternoon. One of those episodes you'll probably want to watch again. This one and the one I did yesterday, where it's just myself chatting with all of you about living in gratitude. That was a special episode I did yesterday for all of you as well. There is Soul Lessons from the Wizard of Oz, how to follow your yellow brick road, which is what we were talking about in many different ways, shapes, and forms today. And also the other book that, again, is a great read and one that, these are the kinds of books that you'll probably read more than once. And each time you read them, you'll get different little nuggets from them. You'll have them on the coffee table, and then something will happen in your life. And then you'll refer to these books to maybe help you through it. The 6 Fix, Spiritual Health Care for a Stronger America. Good stuff, huh, gang? We thank you very much for joining us in this episode. And Kathy says, not what I expected, and I enjoyed it. Thanks, Jim. Enjoy the rest of your day. That is absolutely perfect. You have a wonderful day, Kathy, in Cleveland. And Joan Sando says, thanks, JMS. This was wonderful. You are the best host on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I actually do this work professionally in television and radio too. The YouTube thing just is something that came later, but we love it. And we get to meet wonderful folks like Joan Sando, who's watching here on the show as well. Digging deep tonight. Great show, Jim. So many inspiration and good vibes. Absolutely, gang. Like I say on the Jim Master Show Live, we have levity, we have love, we have entertainment. We go on location, we learn something. There's a lot of variety. This is just an amazing place to be, gang, and really something special. And I enjoy doing these shows. It's just really, I'm learning like you, and I'm sharing like you, and expressing and emoting and connecting like you are as well. And you mention it to me all the time. We also have a Facebook group for this show. It's called JMS Live Lovity Hall. It's on Facebook. Check it out. Hop in. Everybody's communicating with everybody, and they're sharing pictures and recipes and words of wisdom. And I pop in every once in a while to say hi and greet everybody. So check that out. It's called JMS Live Lovity Hall, and it's on Facebook. You can find me on all the usual places. I'm on Facebook at Jim Masters TV, as well as Instagram, Jim Masters TV, and also on, of course, YouTube, where our show is housed. The Jim Masters Show Live is on Jim Masters TV. You can also find me on Twitch, Periscope, and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. Feel free to follow, like, connect. That would be great to be connected with you. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is the channel you're watching right now. 401 episodes of our epic entertainment lifestyle talk show series are here for you. It does really help the show and help the channel when you do subscribe. We would love that. So subscribe, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you don't miss any of our live episodes in case you want to participate live, have a question maybe from me or the guests. And also, because sometimes we do pop-up shows, and you'll get a notification when there's an instant pop-up show that happens when you subscribe to our YouTube channel and you click the notification bell. Also, share the channel. If there's episodes of our series that you really enjoy, share the YouTube link on your Facebook pages and Instagram and elsewhere, and invite other people to check us out and to share the levity, as we always talk about. And as Michael Shevack was talking about today, sharing it in this communal experience we've created called the Jim Masters Show Live. That might be my name, Jim Masters, but there's so much, that's behind all of that, in terms of that's the name of the show, that's my name, but there's so much more, I don't know, levity that's involved in this whole experience we call the Jim Masters Show Live. Really cool gang. This was terrific. This was a great, great show. They all are, but this was something I think we all needed, right? This one and the one I did yesterday, Living in Gratitude. We're going to do more of these in conjunction with everything else. Like I said, I like variety. Variety is the spice of life, something different, something unique. Not everybody, likes everything, and I fully understand that. That's why we aren't just anything. We are everything. And good night, Juanita says, you as well. Going to check a couple more of the comments before we go. We're going to be working in the yard tomorrow morning. Lots to plant, lots to grow. If you saw the episode we had with Ken Sparks, Farmer Ken, everybody loved that episode. We were talking about plants and talking about urban farms and all the cool things he's doing. That was really a great episode. I love that because, I'm a gardener myself and landscaper. So I love that. Tomorrow, we have an extraordinary show. We have a show in the afternoon live from Ireland at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. in Ireland, Scotland, and England. And you probably know of her as the goddaughter of Keith Harkin, who was originally with Celtic Thunder, wonderful Irish singer, songwriter, musician, and the cousin of Keith, as well as the cousin of Rebecca Harkin, another brilliant artist. Both were guests on the Jim Masters Show Live. Keith was actually in Portugal when he was on our show, and Rebecca in Australia when she was on. Their cousin, the brilliantly talented 14-year-old Irish actress and singer who was on The Voice UK Kids Edition and other competition shows and so much more, Rosa O'Reilly is going to be here. She is all excited. Matter of fact, the Keith Harkin Army, which is sort of the, like fan group for Keith Harkin and Rebecca as well. They are posting all over social media about this, and we really thank them very much. We thank the Harkin Army for doing that for the Jim Masters Show Live. We love them. Rosa O'Reilly is here tomorrow, and it's going to be great. We're going to have music and great conversation. She's only 14 years old, and she's going to be with us, and she's a phenom. Then tomorrow night, Savella is going to be with us live on the Jim Masters Show Live. She always has an inspiring message. She always has phenomenal music. You know her as Marlene Angelides. She was with us, I'd say about 6-7 months ago now, and she now goes by Savella. She has all new music out, and it's going to be fantastic. So she's on tomorrow, which is Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tomorrow, Sunday, Savella with us live. But before that, at 2 p.m. Eastern, so you get double levity tomorrow. We call it, when we have two shows in the same day, we call it double levity day. So tomorrow's double levity day. Rosa O'Reilly, 14-year-old musical phenom, wonderful Irish singer and actress. She's with us tomorrow afternoon, 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, 7 p.m. GMT. Followed at 7 p.m. In between, I'll probably, go walk along the coast. We'll grab some dinner. We'll be back live for Double Loverty with Savella tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Monday, Canadian actor and fantastic actor and singer Ryan Silverman is going to be with us on Monday live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Tuesday, playwright, actor, and producer Giles Howe is going to be with us live from Florida. That's Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Wednesday, brilliant award-winning actor Jason Gray is going to be with us live for a fantastic conversation and entertainment and more. That's Wednesday. Thursday, the Aussie crooner Marty Thompson's going to be here with great music and stories. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee, USA. He's originally from Australia. He's with us Thursday. Then a dear friend and a musical phenom herself, Tracy Stark, musical director, musician, songwriter, producer. She's with us coming up on Friday. That is this coming Friday this week. And then on Saturday, award-winning actor Ryan Duncan is going to be with us live on Saturday night. That's a week from today, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And he's all hopped up and excited about coming on the show as well. The Jim Masters Show Live is a very special place. We have a lot of fun here on the show, and we always learn something. Our regularly scheduled hours are daily, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Sometimes we do special shows like we did today at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow we have the early show as well. We work around the guest schedule. We work around my schedule. We also work around events. So we try to be accommodating and do what we can schedule-wise. You can always find out about the upcoming episodes on our Facebook page at Jim Masters TV, as we have an events section, and also on YouTube. YouTube, we have the shows scheduled in advance, so you can take a look at our upcoming shows schedule on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, so you can keep abreast to some of the cool things. But even if we don't have a guest, which we usually always do, but sometimes I like to do some host chat shows with all of you, since I am a host and personality and presenter. Those sometimes we pop up with, or we schedule, last minute. You can check our YouTube page to keep abreast of everything as well. If you missed anything that this episode might have brought to you that you'd like to see again or share with somebody, all the episodes are on our YouTube channel 24/7, 365 at youtube.com/Jim Masters TV. Basically, it's the channel you're watching right now, and you can see all the episodes. And we are just getting started. Again, this is our weekend of milestones, 400 episodes that we have had here, 400 episodes, which is extraordinary. And this is 401, I believe. You guys have been the ones keeping track. I've just been hosting and producing and doing the shows and lining up the guests and doing all the production and getting everything together, that I lost track that we've done that many shows, which is truly amazing. And we're just getting started. This week will be our official 1-year anniversary since we started 1 year ago of the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. 1 year. That is hard to believe. And what a year it's been, huh? A lot of highs and lows for people over the year, but guess what? We've remained intact. We're here together, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. The sun is shining outside in 2021 as we're immersed in it now. Can't believe it's already May. This is May 1st right now. It's the beginning of a new chapter, a new year in many ways for all of us. And we're all here together, which I think is really, really beautiful. Crystal says, thank you for an inspiring conversation, words of wisdom. Plan to buy his book, which is fantastic. And thanks again for all these great comments. 400 cheers. So our anniversary, the 1-year anniversary, comes up this week. So we'll note it during the week. But we want to plan a very special anniversary episode that we will do probably towards the middle of May. because we want to do something extra special. It's kind of like eloping now, but having the wedding ceremony later. It's kind of like what we're doing. So if you'd like to be a part of our very special anniversary episode that's coming up this month of May, and you would like to send us a video, just a quick video on your phone. Some of you, we've received some this week, and we thank you very much from our viewers. And some of you are working on them, and we thank you very much as well. This hair is really getting long. You see, it's getting wild and long in the back there. And the thing that holds it back has a lifespan. I think once we reach the 2-hour point, it starts to unravel and starts to, start coming out on the side. And I should just pull it back and just all let it hang out, right? We're going to do that as soon as this show ends, as we get ready to eat. I haven't eaten today. We'll talk about that later. I've been so busy, I haven't had anything to eat today. So we're going to eat right now. And then we're going to the coast. A couple blocks from here, we're right at the ocean. So we're going to enjoy. But so if you would like to send in a quick video, I digress. You want to send in a quick video, you can send it right here to jimmasterstv@gmail.com, jimmasterstv@gmail.com. It could be a quick video on your phone, on your laptop, on your PC, your Apple, whatever you have, your camera, and you can send it to us at jimmasterstv@gmail.com. And we will air those on our very special anniversary episode marking the 1-year anniversary of the Jim Masters Show Live. Again, our actual anniversary is this week, like right around now. And this week we'll mention it, we'll acknowledge it. I have a special package here from Christine Clifton that is still waiting to be opened. I'm going to open it this week on one of our shows. And I want to do it when we're celebrating the anniversary. And it's a lighter topic. So this will be opened. And a couple other things you guys sent. I've got something special from Dream of Denver that she sent that we're going to share with you. And yeah, we've got the Gilligan. See him? There's Gilligan over there. So she sent something else special, and we're gonna open that up too. So again, if you have guest suggestions too, if there are people you'd like to see on this show, we have a roster of guests coming up all the way through June. But if you have some guest suggestions, and some of you have done that, and we try to get to them as quickly as we can, we thank you very much for doing that. You can send guest suggestions to our show's email address, jimmasterstv@gmail.com. And you can also send your videos telling us why you enjoy the Jim Masters Show Live. What are some of the things that you enjoy? What brings you here all the time? And some of you have been with us since day one, since we turned on the lights, built the home studio, and the rest is history. So feel free to send those videos in as soon as you're able to, because we are going to be having a special anniversary episode. And if you'd like to be a part of it, we will air your video on our show. And again, it doesn't have to be anything that's like a Hollywood movie. It doesn't have to be anything epic. Just whatever you share and whatever the words are epic enough for us. Christine says, thanks for this very special show, Jim. See you all Monday. She will miss the double levity, so she'll see these in the archives. And I know you watch the archives too. If you ever miss anything, gang, everything is preserved at Jim Masters TV on YouTube in the archives. Lovely 400 episodes. I believe this is 401, which is hard to believe. We've been celebrating that on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter pages as well. Enjoy your day tomorrow, Christine, as well. You do. And we'll see you on Monday. For Christine, the rest of you, I'll be here 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow with Rosa O'Reilly. It's going to be a great show with Rosa. And Savella tomorrow night. It's going to be amazing too. Love you all. Be well. We toast you, whether you're watching this live, you're catching this in the re-air, the bingeable Mr. Levity here, as Juanita and others have said. Kind, generous, supportive you. Always remember, you are of great value. This is iced coffee now. You're always welcome here. And regardless of your religious background, your political background, your income, height, weight, zip code, eye color, gender, none of it matters. This is the Jim Masters Show Live. Everybody is welcome to the party all the time. These are really epic shows. I can't wait when I'm 95 years old to look back at this series and watch all of these shows again. This is going to be bingeable watching for me too. Don't forget to smile, everybody. Share the smile. It's the best contagion out there. Don't forget to share the lovity. We always talk about that. Again, that's a word that just happened. You know what? It just happened. And I guess like author and Rabbi Michael Shevack said, it was meant to be. It was meant to be. Not an accident. Not an accident. And find your Zen place. I was telling you, I was happy to share once again that Death Valley story. Every once in a while, when I get that energy, I feel a certain energy, I share it. There's even a longer version to it, and I may do a book or video on it. People have told me to write a book on it because it can inspire others, the Death Valley story. What you're looking at now is definitely the polar opposite of Death Valley. It's the beautiful Atlantic Ocean. And this is on the south shore of Long Island, New York. And very beautiful. The Zen place for me, the ocean. I'm very in touch with the ocean. That's why to experience what I experienced at Death Valley, I couldn't have been at the ocean because that's a Zen place. It had to be a non-Zen place to really feel it. And of course, my work in television, radio, and stage all these years on camera, on air, and behind the scenes brings me great joy and is Zen for me as well. If you can, do what you love what you do, and share it with the world. And as we always say, whenever I can remember to have this handy, sometimes we get so wrapped up in the shows, I forget to bring this to bear. We love you all. Relax, breathe through the diaphragm, and share this show. Share all of our episodes with the world. Tell everybody and share the levity about the Jim Masters Show live. Relax, breathe, enjoy the rest of your day. Love one another and love yourself, not in an egotistical way. Do it in a way where, my hair is getting really wild here. Do it in a way where you realize that you have self-worth and you are invited to the party and you have great value as well. You know, a couple of our guests of late have said that. Have you noticed that? Michael did today, and some of the others have recently, and I've always been saying it. So it's good stuff, gang. Couple more comments, and we are out of here. We've got to eat. And then we want to get to the coast before the sun goes down. Kisses from Kathleen. We're getting closer, Kathleen. We're getting closer to getting together. I can't wait. We're going to be seeing each other soon, and we will celebrate post-haste your birthday. I have some things here. I didn't want to mail them. I want to deliver them in person. One of them is a huge hug. Juanita. Jim, I connected with the photographer from last night, Charles. He's doing some amazing work in South Africa. So hope you get him on the show soon. Charles, yes. Chesler, I want to get him on the show. Absolutely. We're working on that, actually. We're working on that. I should bring up some of my photography, too. I'm a photographer as well, and I haven't really... I've shown some photos, some things, but I have a collection of photos, some framed, some that I offer. Photography, I guess my father, the photographer, always with the camera, always. He is the one that always has the camera, always filming. Used to be videotaping. Now it's, everything's digital. So we always, growing up, had cameras around our house, and everything was always captured and documented. And now we have all the footage to look at over the years of family and childhood, and it's great stuff. So that was passed down to me, and working in this industry too, where, videography and photography is huge. I've always been a photographer, of always taking pictures, always, even where I'm told, Jim, will you put the camera down? Just experience it. We're actually going to be upgrading here too to a new videography system for the Jim Masters Show Live that's going to enhance the visual quality. We're great right now, HD and everything, but we're doing some investments here, taking our show to the next level in some behind the scenes production ways. I think we're pretty good the way we are now, but we are going to be upping the game even more, which is fantastic. Like I said, we just got started here. It's a year and we're just getting started. I'll one day take a 1-year sabbatical and just binge the Jim Masters Show again. I thought you were going to take the 1-year sabbatical and come visit us here in America. Maybe you'll do both. Maybe 6 months of the Jim Masters Show live, and then the other, you're here and come visit America. LOL, whenever we go out, Gabriella will ask whether I'm taking the camera. Yes. And I'm sure you've been told sometimes put the camera down. Oh, yes. Can't wait. Absolutely. That's right. And we will be together, Kathleen. And love from France. Anais is here. So glad that I discovered you in this show. I really needed this kind of conversation and vibes. So thank you very much, Jim. Thank you. And we'll be doing some more of these earlier shows, in the afternoon, because I know you're in France. And when we do our later show in the evening, it's later for you. So I think I'll sprinkle in every now and again some of these afternoon shows. As a matter of fact, on the weekends, we're going to be doing, as summer is coming, probably earlier shows as we start going into summer. We're not quite there yet. It's only May. But like on a Sunday afternoon, instead of a night show, we might do an early afternoon show so we can enjoy the rest of the day and be with family. And now that we're able to do that, fully vaccinated, I am fully vaccinated, and it's been 2 weeks since that, and we are golden and can't wait to see more of our relatives and our friends and gather and work on other additional projects in my professional work that we weren't able to work on as extensively because of flights and things of that nature. So good stuff, good stuff. Yes, I'll binge it on the couches, on our couches here at Levity Hall. That sounds good. That sounds really good. All right, gang. I think that's a wrap, right? We did everything. You've got your cast of characters there, and you saw Gilligan and George Burns, all the regulars. And I got to get Linlin back here on the show, right? And I think, what is the name of your panda that you have, Kathleen? Is it Bamboo? I think it was Bamboo or something, right? Bamboo. Linlin, one of these days, can you imagine if we got together and we were walking through New York City and I'm holding Linlin and you're holding Bamboo? You know what, Kathleen? In New York, nobody would even bat an eye. They would just go about their business and do what they do. Maybe if we were in Peoria, they might stop and look and say, did two people just walk by us with huge pandas in their hands? Sal, honey, don't you see those people walking down the street with pandas? Who are those people? But in New York, walking down the street, probably in New York, maybe West Hollywood, certain places, if you just walk down the street with a couple of big monster pandas in your hand, we might even have a circle of children that will follow us. No one would notice if we did it in New York. So maybe we should do that. I'll bring Linlin on the train and then you'll show up and we'll go to a restaurant and we'll ask for 2 extra seats and we'll put Linlin in one and we'll put Bamboo in the other and we'll see if and maybe we'll film it and we'll do an episode of JMS Live from that scenario. That would be cool. I should do one from Citi Field too. We're here on location. Bamboo. I remembered it was Bamboo. And we'll have to bring them together. Bamboo needs to meet Linlin. See, you got to have fun. You got to be a kid every once in a while. Double levity from from Bamboo and Linlin. Absolutely. Gang, thanks for everything. We love you all. I know we hate to part, don't we? Table for 4, please. The others will just have Bamboo because that's all they really eat. They really only eat bamboo, bamboo trees, bamboo shoots. That's what they eat. So maybe we'll go to a Japanese restaurant and we'll say, can we have 2 orders of bamboo shoots for them? And then we'll order what we order. or maybe a Chinese restaurant because they're really known in China. So we'll get the bamboo shoots at a Chinese restaurant because the pandas really hail from China. Anyway, that's a wrap, gang. We are starving. We got to eat. So Rosa O'Reilly is with us tomorrow. Again, going to be amazing. Savella tomorrow night. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you on social media, Jim Masters TV on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, and YouTube. And also, don't forget our Facebook fan page we created just for you guys. So it's not a fan page, it's a group. It's a group of Levity, JMS Live, Levity Hall. Check us out there. So the sun is shining. We got to get out of here before the sun sets. First day of May. We shall see you tomorrow. Hopefully, if not, binge watch all the episodes. They are there for you. And we will see you tomorrow, gang. All right. Love you all. Be well. Take care. Keep smiling. Pay heed to some of the conversation we had tonight or today. Hopefully, you learned something new. Christine Clifton says, that sounds great. A table for 4 with Lin and Bamboo. Can you imagine if we did that and we filmed it and we then streamed it on an episode of JMS Live? That would be hilarious. We'd probably go viral, which would be a great thing. Help us go viral, gang. Share these links and help the Jim Master Show Live go viral. Subscribe to the channels. Do all of that. You guys are a blessing. You do it anyway, and we love you for that. So we're going to say sayonara, Avida Zane, ciao, cheers, mazel tov. Not goodbye, but see you later. And we'll be back tomorrow. No show tonight, because I know some people will ask, is there a show tonight? This pretty much is it, because it's 5:45. So the show is an extended version, 2 hours and 36 minutes for today. So class dismissed. You can go about the rest of your day in peace and in style. And we shall see you tomorrow. Love you all. Good night. And one last comment coming in. Christine, LOL. That is funny. Au revoir. That's right. Au revoir. Love it. Right back at you in France. And yes, au revoir. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your day. We love you all. Thanks for watching this episode of the Jim Master Show Live. Take care. Be well. See you soon.